Ferrari are about to make a big mistake. The Italian Grand Prix was a bright flash in a very dark season for Ferrari, and many things became clear for the prancing horse. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc gave us an awesome racing show, and this proved one big thing that might change a lot of stuff in Maranello and could prove huge in the near future. So why were the Ferraris so fast at their home track and finally did what was expected of them, to be the second fastest cars? While Max Verstappen of Red Bull made a mark in F1 history with his staggering 10th consecutive win, his achievements have become so commonplace that they almost seem expected. However, the true star of this race was Sainz. For Ferrari's home race, the Spaniard narrowly outpaced Verstappen for pole position. Unexpectedly, he enjoyed his prime grid position for an extended period due to a delay in the race start. This delay was a result of Yuki Tsunoda's AlphaTauri emitting smoke, halting its run before the parabolica during what should have been the only warm-up lap. The situation was further complicated as the AT04 remained stuck in gear and was challenging to retrieve promptly. Consequently, the race had to be halted twice. An issue with the LED screen accompanying the F1 starting lights further prolonged the wait. These delays affected the mechanics' return to the grid, influenced by F1's grid security protocols. Such was the tension during this time, the two Alfa Romeo mechanics even jumped over the pit wall, fearing escalating engine and brake temperatures under the scorching conditions of northern Italy. Finally, at 15:20 local time, the formation lap resumed. The subsequent pause that occurred as all 5 starting lights lit up was exceedingly brief. Upon their eventual takeoff, Sainz and Verstappen were neck and neck, with Sainz managing to pull ahead just before the initial segment of the Rettifilo chicane. He confidently maintained his lead, dashing Ferrari's aspirations that Charles Leclerc would challenge Verstappen and disrupt Red Bull's optimal strategy. Instead, the second SF23, starting from third, was forced into defensive action against Mercedes driver George Russell. This tussle lasted until the pack reached the Roggia chicane a few seconds later, and now safe in third, Leclerc was able to shoot after the top 2. Russell was quickly dropped, but not massively, as he led Sergio Perez's Red Bull RB19 in fourth, while Sainz pulled out a 0.8 second gap on the first lap of S1, reduced from S3 by the extra formation tours. He extended that to 0.9 seconds the second time around, but critically did not build enough of an advantage to break Verstappen's DRS threat. Therefore, when the overtaking aid was activated, Verstappen promptly reduced the difference by nearly a third. He still, however, had Leclerc lurking just under a second further back, the second Ferrari being towed along very nicely. I tried everything I could to keep the Red Bulls behind, especially that first stint in front of Max. It probably nearly cost me a podium because it meant that I was wearing my tyres a lot, stated Carlos Sainz. In contrast to 2022, when Ferrari grappled with front left tyre wear in their contest against Red Bull, the focus this year shifted to the rear axle. With tyre compounds a grade softer than the previous year, notably starting on the medium C4s for the leaders, MONZA'S design, marked by its minimal corners and elongated straights, placed significant stress on the rear tyres. Moreover, the 2022 Pirellis were notorious for inducing understeer. Having undergone improvements, they now offer a more even-handed handling. However, this also means the rear tyres are more prone to skidding when accelerating out of turns. Sainz's strategy was clear: power through the bends and attempt to establish a lead over Verstappen. This approach, while aggressive, had its drawbacks. It rendered him especially susceptible as the stint progressed, especially given that a medium tyre stint was anticipated to last approximately 20 laps. Ferrari certainly had a commendable day. While beating Max Verstappen was always a long shot, the fact that they managed to hold off Sergio Perez for as long as they did speaks volumes. Of course, third and fourth places aren't the peak of Ferrari's ambitions, but every team's objective is to harness the best outcome possible in any given race. Considering the race's trajectory, those positions seem to be the optimal outcomes. Ferrari, like any team, has its moments of hesitation, yet it was imperative to stay on course, particularly given the weight of expectations at its home race. They not only fulfilled their duties, but also leveraged their track position to inject some competitiveness into the race. No squad can magically improve a car overnight, Hence, Ferrari's immediate goal should center on optimizing their current resources. The actual tug-of-war might be unfolding behind the scenes at Maranello, but Monza's race day in 2023 showcased one of Ferrari's brighter moments. However, the most interesting part of the race happened towards the end, where both of the Ferraris got into a fierce battle for the last podium spot, and had either Ferrari driver put their car barely a fraction differently at any of the several spots, an embarrassing crash was surely on. The first move of the thrilling tete-a-tete was Leclerc's DRS run along the main straight at the start of lap 47, with Sainz unable to stick with Perez long enough to get that advantage himself. His hards this time with zero rubber left, approaching a stint's conclusion, but Leclerc locked up at turn 1 and went deep, with Sainz perfectly judging the chicane's exit to run alongside through Curva Grande. This became the inside for Roggia, where Sainz this time locked his left front and both cars cut the complex, Leclerc appearing to lightly tap his teammate's right rear as it sailed unexpectedly close to his right side front wing endplate. A second turn 1 Leclerc attack didn't come off despite Sainz locking his left front on lap 49, after which Sainz begged Ferrari to bring this home, but Leclerc was allowed to carry on attacking under Vasseur's instruction. No risk at all. That seemed to be forgotten on the last lap, so desperate was each Ferrari driver to be fighting for a podium in Monza, per Sainz. Heading into turn 1 for the final time, Leclerc dived late from outside to inside, at which Sainz jinked slightly right as they braked. When Leclerc had to veer left to avoid contact, he locked both front wheels and only just avoided wiping out his teammate. Despite losing out at the flag, Leclerc said he relished a battle that was reminiscent of his days in karting, and added that he thought racing should be like this all of the time. He told Sky Sports, "I personally really enjoyed it. This is what racing should be all the time. In my opinion, this reminds me of the karting days when we were all on the limit. We could follow each other. With the DRS, we could actually stay very close to each other. With Carlos, it was really on the limit." Leclerc joked that he is certain both of them got the heart of Vasseur racing and his blood pressure high because there were a few moments when they were close to colliding. Vasseur joked that he did not want to watch any action replays so soon after the fact and said the drivers would be taken aside to discuss the moves, but he was proud that the team did not intervene. "It's a bit of a strange feeling, but I'm a big fan of let them race," said Vasseur. "I told them the notion of no risk, it's always relative. But I really appreciated the last couple of laps. We'll have the discussion after the race, but tomorrow, they are in the factory. I didn't freeze the position. I don't want to see the replay tonight." Sainz's ability to fend off Verstappen for 15 laps, who was in a much faster car, was an exemplary display of his racing intelligence. He remained cool under pressure and showcased strategic defense, but once the tires began to wear, it highlighted the limitations of the Ferrari's current setup, which has displayed moments of brilliance. In my opinion, if they could ensure such performance consistency across various circuits, the F1 community would be in for a real treat. There were talks and speculations that Leclerc might be the one to secure a contract extension over Sainz, sparking rumors about the Spaniard's potential exit from Ferrari. However, based on his recent performances, it's evident that Sainz is a force to be reckoned with, making it essential for Ferrari to value both him and Leclerc equally. If Sainz were to depart, it would indeed be a significant setback for Ferrari, which is desperately attempting to recapture its championship form. They need an elite driver duo, and Sainz's assertive intra-team triumph comes at an opportune moment, considering the ongoing speculation about the driver's futures. With his stock currently soaring, now would be an ideal time for Sainz to step into contract discussions. Audi's interest in Sainz is telling of his caliber and prowess. While he remains steadfastly dedicated to Ferrari, a proposition from the esteemed German brand would undoubtedly be tempting. In any case, Ferrari possesses a stellar driver duo in Sainz and Leclerc, and their priority should be to retain this potent combination for the foreseeable future. So what are your thoughts? Do you think Ferrari needs to focus on both of the drivers or prioritize one? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and we will see you in the next video.